Magic Cookies, written by Gary Fall. Once upon a time, a really long time ago, there lived a 6-inch sorcerer named Fitzhenry. Even though he tried hard and practiced every day, Fitzhenry was not a great sorcerer. This made him sad because he was madly in love with the most beautiful princess of the land, Princess Maple. Only the most powerful sorcerer would be able to marry her, and the wedding was set to take place in 3 days. He had tried all sorts of different spells. Some were easy, some were hard, and some were really super hard. It didn't matter what kind of spell he tried, they never went pop, poof, or kerplunk like the spells of all the other sorcerers. Fitzhenry would practice his magic deep down in the darkest corner of the castle's dungeon laboratory. Today, he was frantically working on a brand new spell. Just once, he needed to hear a pop, poof, or kerplunk, he thought. A soft rumbling sound, a sound like distant thunder, caused Fitzhenry to pause in the middle of his spell. Thunder? No, I'm too far down in the castle to hear thunder, he thought as he went back to work. While adding the last of his saber-toothed cat toenails, the soft rumbling sound returned, and it got louder and louder and louder. The room started to shake. It grew so loud, Fitzhenry had to stop what he was doing and cover his ears. Suddenly, the brightest bolt of lightning ever struck right in front of him. Fitzhenry was so scared. He closed his eyes, and he kept them closed for what seemed like hours. Every once in a while he would try to peek, but he really couldn't see anything. When the rumbling stopped and the lightning bolt had disappeared, Fitzhenry felt it was safe to open his eyes and take his hands off of his ears. There, sitting on the table right in front of him, was a bag of cookies? Sadly, Fitzhenry thought, well, that was not what I wanted to happen. The other sorcerers, they're going to laugh at me and call me names. I do not want to be known as the magical baker. Fitzhenry tossed his cookies and went to bed. The next day, Fitzhenry went back to try again, but on the table, as if by magic, a bag of cookies sat right where they were when they first appeared. Fitzhenry was sure he had tossed those cookies. He thought for a moment, then he remembered the thunder and lightning. "Magic cookies!" he screamed. He grabbed the bag of cookies and set out to find the princess. I must show her these magic cookies before she marries. Over twigs and under leaves he went. Fitzhenry was having kind of a hard time because he was only 6 inches tall. "Squeak-Henry! Fitzeek!" Fitzhenry heard a very strange sound. It almost sounded like his name being said with the squeak of a mouse. He followed the sound and saw his best friend, Mr. Mouse, sinking in a mud puddle. He started to run. "Fitzhenry, to the rescue!" But he tripped and fell. He fell so hard that he bounced off the mouse before he went splat in the mud himself. Mr. Mouse was able to wiggle his way out, thanks to the little push by Fitzhenry. It was now Mr. Mouse's turn to save Fitzhenry. Once Fitzhenry was safe, Mr. Mouse explained that he fell into the mud puddle because he was running away from an old cat named Nasty Cat, and Fitzhenry explained he was on his way to see the princess. So grateful was Mr. Mouse for Fitzhenry's help, he asked to carry Fitzhenry the rest of the way. Off they went, Mr. Mouse with Fitzhenry on his back. Mr. Mouse was going so fast that Fitzhenry could only see a blur as the world raced by. Meow! Mr. Mouse came to a skidding stop, just as Nasty Cat jumped in front of them. Thinking quickly, Fitzhenry reached into his bag of cookies and pulled one out. He said, "Hello, Nasty Cat. You look hungry. Would you like a cookie? I made them myself." The cat ate one, but nothing happened. Fitzhenry was starting to get nervous, and when Fitzhenry got nervous, he always sneezed. When Fitzhenry opened his eyes, Nasty Cat was nowhere to be seen. The cat had disappeared, and he had not even seen it happen. Mr. Mouse saw that Fitzhenry was sad again. "Why are you sad, Fitzhenry?" Fitzhenry looked at Mr. Mouse, and sadly explained he could not possibly make it in time to stop Princess Maple's wedding. Mr. Mouse was also sad. He was not able to help Fitzhenry. Then he noticed that Fitzhenry was still holding the bag of cookies, and he got an idea. Mr. Mouse hoped that these cookies that had solved his problem would be able to solve Fitzhenry's problem as well. "Fitzhenry, you look hungry. Try a cookie. You made them yourself." Fitzhenry was hungry, and he ate a cookie, and then he ate another, and another, and before he knew it, the whole bag was empty. When he saw the bag was empty, and no magic had happened, he got nervous. And when Fitzhenry got nervous, he always, achoo, sneezes. When Fitzhenry opened his eyes, he could no longer see the field or his friend Mr. Mouse, and he was no longer 6 inches tall. Instead, he was now 6 feet tall, and inside a castle. Standing next to him was his one true love, Princess Maple. Squeak, squeak! Fitzhenry looked down and saw a little mouse head sticking out of his pocket. It was Mr. Mouse, and in his paws were 2 little rings. He had made it to the wedding after all, only now it was his wedding. With a single kiss, they lived happily ever after. The end. The moral of this story is, good things will happen if you never give up and practice your hardest every day.